Views expressed by Casters Guild members are only the opinions of that member, and that could change from day to day. Guild members may use mature language, but that in no way means they are mature. Listener discretion is advised.
Interactive digital media has been around for a long time, and it's been a long journey from placing a quarter on a machine to show that you have next to queuing up with your friends for an online match. But what did that journey look like for us? We'll take you from Ready Player One to Game Over, and that's the spell that we're casting tonight on Casters Guild. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Casters Guild. I am Guild Master and final boss, Rick Perry.
And I am Guild Master Baron Kane.
And returning for the second time is our guild member. Feel free to say hi.
Hello, I'm Parker Garza. Nice to be here again.
Parker Garza.
Garza.
Hi, Parker Garza.
And tonight we are talking about our experience with video games, our journey from noob to whatever we are now.
I'm still a noob.
So guys, I think a good place to start, I think we covered this a little bit in our Getting to Know Us cast, but maybe people didn't listen to the first episode. Maybe this is their first episode. So I think a good place to start would be what was your first video game?
Honestly, I don't think we did cover this. I mean, I think we danced around it, but I don't think we talked about it. My first video game was a Donkey Kong arcade game.
Like the stand-up?
Yep. Played it it was a laundromat. Now, I was too short. I was too short to reach the joystick and buttons, and my aunt had to hold me up there.
Aw. My first video game was it's between Viva Pinata for the Xbox 360 or Pokemon Emerald for the Game Boy SP. I don't remember which one. I'm pretty sure it was Pokemon, but I don't fully remember.
See, now I'm really interested to hear Rick's because once we figure out what Rick's is, this may even prove my point on how these podcasts like this with the three of us should go.
Oh, it 100% will. I already see where you're going. My first video game was probably that NES pack-in 2-pack where you got Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt in one cartridge. And it came with the NES with 2 controllers and a zapper. And that's the first thing I can remember playing. Now, that technically didn't belong to me, and I don't have a ton of memories from that. I remember going back and playing that. The first real formative game for me would be either Kirby's Dream Land for the NES or Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, my family, we had like a family console, but I didn't really get to play it, so I didn't really get to play a lot of the older games. So my first video game was either Pokemon or the Viva Pinata, but I got to experience like the old school consoles and stuff. I remember my brother David used to play hockey on the NES, and he would not take it easy on me whenever I got to play. But that's besides the point.
So yeah, I mean, like that, we're showing 3 very different journeys here, starting from the arcade, starting from some of the earlier home consoles, and starting from the Xbox 360. We should have 3 very different stories here.
Yeah.
And that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's really why I wanted to do this.
Yeah, 3 different point of views.
But because by the time I was actually hitting the Nintendo, I was trying to remember what I was in school, but I was old enough to really remember everything.
Right.
Like it wasn't formative for me anymore. It was like, this is something I would remember. I still remember to this day, like on, let's just say the Nintendo game system, playing the Mario and the Duck Hunt and figuring out all the little tricks and on Duck Hunt to make it easier. I remember playing Jeopardy on the regular Nintendo system.
Oh yeah.
Game Genie. I had one of those. That was great.
Yeah, definitely.
It was dumb, but I mean, I'm like one of those people that like I don't really like to cheat in games. It's not fun to cheat in games for me.
Sure.
So I got the Game Genie, and it was just like, okay, this should be fun. And it was just like, it was all dumb. I hated it.
I had a Game Shark for my SP,
Yeah.
my Game Boy SP. I assume that's kind of like what a Game Genie is. It's like a little cheat device that you plug in.
It's exactly what it is. Now, the difference here being the Game Shark, I think the first Game Shark was for the PlayStation 1 and would plug into the back of the console, and then you'd put your disc in, and then the Game Shark, the same as Game Genie, would basically rewrite the code of the game in order for you to cheat. Whereas the Game Genie, like if you had a Game Genie for the NES, you would plug the game cartridge into the Game Genie and then plug the Game Genie into the cartridge slot of the NES. Like it was a direct interrupt between one and the other.
Yeah, that bitch would always crash too. Game
Genie. Oh yeah. I mean, like
horrifying.
Back then when you were rewriting code, I mean, like even up until the Game Shark days, and I think I'm trying to remember because we sold a different device when I actually worked at GameStop, and it was like the popular one. It was the one that everyone used to cheat to get like new Pokemon on the Pokemon games. What was that thing called?
Was it like a little SD card?
I think it might have been called the Instant Replay.
Yeah, that's what it was, Instant Replay.
Instant Replay, yeah. So Instant Replay was the one that changed, the most recent one. And I think all the way up even to the Instant Replay is they've always been super glitchy. Because like I said, you were essentially rewriting the code of the game, changing how the game worked fundamentally.
Was it Action Replay?
Action Replay. That was definitely an Action Replay. Yeah, so that was...
Yeah, I gave myself all the rare candies using that.
That was very different from just using, let's say, a cheat code, which like the game developers would build in cheat codes so you could use them. So if you used a cheat code, the game will work fine. But like that would like rewrite the code of the game. And then you had, back when I was first starting to play Pokemon Red and Blue, you also had just like game-breaking glitches that you didn't have to use a cheat device for. Mm-hmm. Like you could go talk to the guy who taught you how to catch Pokemon and then fly to Cinnabar Island and surf around Cinnabar Island waiting for this glitched out Pokemon to show up. And then if you ran from him, then the 6th item in your item box would basically become infinite. So you could just make sure rare candies or master balls were there, and like it would turn that item infinite. But you could also, if you caught Missing No, which was the glitched out Pokemon's name, or M-Block, depending on which version you had.
Yeah.
If you caught him, that could ruin your save file. Like it could glitch out that game and completely ruin your save file. So
yeah. I remember back when I was an emotional teenager, I was reading a creepypasta about that glitched out Pokemon.
Was this like yesterday?
Shut the fuck up. It was something stupid like, if you catch him and you keep him in your 6th party slot and you turn the game off after saving it 6 times, he'll like, pull your soul into the Pokemon world or some shit like that. And you already know I was about that.
Oh yeah, there were a ton of creepypastas written about like Lavender Town and like that first set of Pokemon games and stuff like that. We all remember that song. So Baron, let's start with you, since that's kind of how the timeline works. So you said you said that first game was that Donkey Kong machine in the laundromat.
Yep.
Which I'd like to point out a little bit of gaming history here. Donkey Kong was Shigeru Miyamoto's first game. If you guys don't know, or anybody who's listening doesn't know, I mean, you should know if you're listening to this podcast at this point, but Shigeru Miyamoto is the developer who's responsible for Mario and Zelda and a lot of those Nintendo classics that you know and love. And he was hired on to Nintendo because his dad knew someone who worked there. And he didn't have a job, so his dad was like, here, go work at Nintendo. He got him a job there. And they basically handed him a bunch of radar scope cabinets, which was another arcade game that was not selling well. And it was only one stick and one button. And they were like, we need to figure out how do we need to reuse all these radar scope cabinets. And he was actually working on a Popeye game for use with those cabinets. It was supposed to be a licensed game. Like the guy who eventually became Mario was going to be Popeye climbing the scaffolding to get to Bluto, who had kidnapped Olive Oil. Then they lost the license for the game, and they needed to do something else with it. And Miyamoto came up with Donkey Kong due to a poor translation from King Kong. And that's how that game started. But after you played Donkey Kong, that was the era of arcades. Did you visit a whole lot of other arcades after that?
Yeah, actually, one of the other, it's funny that you mention it. And also, is it your accent that you're making you call him Popeye, or is it?
Okay, so when I say Popeye, what would you say?
Popeye.
Like Pop Goes the Weasel. Or
It's
soda
probably
pop.
the accent then, because when you first said it, like I had to stop and listen for a minute.
He's like, I'm saying the same thing, you asshole.
So yeah, it's my accent.
Okay.
I was like, what is that? What is he talking about?
Yeah, I know. He said Popeye first. I was like, this could be another. And then he was like, Bluto. I was like, no, we're thinking of the same guy.
He eats spinach.
Now it's my turn to say fuck you.
Rick's gonna make his guild decree. It's Popeye. Oh, but that was actually one of my favorite arcade games. Was the Popeye game? That was a lot of fun. Well, obviously, it was later than Donkey Kong, but
right. When they worked out the licensing and everything.
Right.
And I don't think it was Nintendo. I think another company ended up eventually handling it.
Was it Konami?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, it's not important. Oh, I feel bad. I'm sorry. Sorry to the game developer out there that put a lot of work into that.
Your work is irrelevant.
The Tron game was great.
Oh, yeah. That was like several games in one, kind of, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Kind of like the birth of mini games there.
It was Nintendo.
The Popeye game?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Crazy. Anywho, Asteroids. Wait, was that Asteroids where you're in that little ship and you're flying around just the big blocks of rock and you shoot them and they break apart? And...
Yeah, so Asteroids was the one where the stick just turned the ship and then you had to press a button to use your thrusters.
Yeah.
And then another button for the... Yeah. I used to play that one at a gas station near my hometown that I could walk to.
Huh.
Of course, it was really old by then, but I
put it on my stepdad's 101 retro console on his 60-inch plasma TV. It was hard. It was like a gray pixel versus a bunch of other slightly less gray pixels.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the graphics were amazing then.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about those old school games, right? A lot of people talk about the brutal difficulty of old school games, and there was a lot of reasons for that. But one of the biggest ones for Asteroids, I think specifically, was game developers back then were still trying to figure out game controls.
Mm-hmm.
And the controls on Asteroids, if you're used to playing modern games, is just infuriating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of that is because they wanted you to spend quarters.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of reasons. The spending quarters, trying to pad the game time, like something that would take you 5 seconds if you knew how to do it, would take you hours if you didn't. And, that would make the game seem longer.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, eating quarters, there was a lot of reasons for the high difficulty back then. But one of the bigger ones, why even difficult games for back then seem even more difficult for the gamers of today is just the difference of controls and conveyance. Yeah. Like the ability to convey information in a game back then wasn't as easy it is nowadays. And if you're used to modern games, where today's modern games are, let's just say it, they're kind of handholdy. You know what I mean? The tutorials where they're like, press X to jump and press this to crouch, and they didn't have that back then, and they didn't have a standard way of controlling a game back then. Every game controlled its own way. You had to learn how to control that game every time you played it.
Fighting games on arcade are infuriating, or were, when they first came out.
Up until Street Fighter 2.
I mean, even then on arcades, it's not like you had, the booklet right there by you to show you all these things. The internet wasn't really a thing. It's again infuriating because you're trying to play these people, especially if like they've already been playing this damn thing. Ugh.
We used to back where I was growing up, there was a trailer park across the street, and they had like a little fun center, and there was a Mortal Kombat arcade thingy in there, and there was a guy there that had been playing arcade games his whole life, and I'm like 10 years old trying to play arcade games for like the first time in my life, and this dude would just follow me around just freaking destroy me in any game.
That's not very nice.
But I mean, like the arcade games were free; you didn't have to pay.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
if I had to pay for the game, I'd be pretty salty. But
I mean, it's still something to be salty about, I think.
yeah.
So you were going to arcades. You played your Asteroids and your Donkey Kongs and your Popeyes. What's different about arcade culture back then and today?
Well, keep in mind too that back then I was, young, and a lot of the stuff that I played was either in a laundromat
Sure.
or a bowling alley. I very rarely got to go to the to the arcade, and let me tell you, when we did get to go to the arcade, it was great. Especially considering, the most expensive ones back then were just 50 cents.
Yeah.
Now it's like you're pumping $2 to play Time Shift.
Right.
But I guess the thing that's the big difference is, I guess there isn't an arcade culture anymore. I mean, as
Definitely not.
easy a cop out as as it is, but
Definitely not in the U.S.
Right, which is where I live.
Right.
But I guess in terms of what the big difference between video game culture then, it being a more arcade culture, to now it being more of a console or at home thing, it was more community. You had people like, except for the dick that was following Parker around, usually you had people that were there. They would be there watching people play games and cheering them on, and you had people there that were actually genuinely trying to compete with each other. And sure, there was some shit talking, but I mean, it wasn't bad. Now you got everybody at home over the internet talking mad shit to each other.
I fucked your mom, bro. I fucked your mom, bro.
And I think that, and again, this could just be the old man in me, but I think gaming culture is more toxic now.
Oh, definitely.
I blame the internet on that one. Before the internet was what it is today, gamers were figuring these games out together.
Well,
like the only way you learn how to play a game is somebody else played that game and was like, oh, you have to go here and you have to do this. And I found this secret level last night. Let me tell you about it. And, that was true for the arcades. You basically, you were trying to help save your friend a quarter by being, oh, go here, jump here. Here's how you do this.
Oh, yeah. And any way to save money on Dragon's Lair. Right.
And then once the home consoles became a thing, still before the internet, you had people, they'd go home after school, they'd play their video game, come into school the next day, they'd be like, oh man, I got to this level, I did this, here's how you unlock this secret, jump over here and you'll find this secret item. Where now, people just expect you to know this stuff.
Yeah, the best advice I've ever been given was get good.
Yeah, like nowadays, they just expect you to already know it or have Googled it, or like you can punch it into Google just as easily as I can, like RTFM noob. It's very different culture for that reason, I think.
The moment I realized that I couldn't trust people on the internet, I was playing RuneScape, and I'd spent all of like 5 years of my life playing this game because I lived out in the country. I didn't really have a lot of friends. It was just me, and like that's basically where I learned to talk to people, and I didn't even really learn to talk to people that well. I still kind of suck at it. So basically I got scammed out of like $16 million or million coins, which was a lot for me. Not a lot to most people in that game, but it was to me, and kind of fucked me up a little bit. I had trust issues for a
Hard
little while.
lesson to learn.
Okay, like the dude was my friend, like quote
Oh, that's even
unquote my
worse.
friend. Yeah, we were friends for like 2 years in game, and then he asked to borrow some money for something, so I gave him money, and then he logged out, and then he unfriended me.
Ouch.
That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, damn, dude, that's a fucking ploy. But-
It's like you guys first meet, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep this going for 2 years. And
I
then
didn't even have the money yet when he met me. Like when we both met, I was still like a mid-tier player. Like I was just working on my hunting skill or something like that.
Jeez.
But
I think a lot of the internet anonymity has a lot to do with that too.
Oh,
It's really
definitely.
easy to shit talk somebody when you don't have to go to school with them the next day.
yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Again, it's way more toxic now.
and the fucking racism. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
some of the shit people say over like Xbox or PlayStation or something like that.
Stuff that would get their asses
Yeah, exactly.
in real life.
If they said that to anybody, especially being raised by a black man, you know, it really got to me when I would be called the N-word, or they'd be calling someone else the N-word, and it's
I'll say for me personally, I think we're on the downswing of that curve. Like we're on the other side of that bell, if you will. I mean, I remember being on Xbox Live for like the Xbox 360 and like online for the PlayStation 3, and it felt like it was 100% hate speech unless you were playing with like just your friends.
Yeah.
And now, like if I jump on Overwatch, which is considered to be one of the more toxic communities, I would say more often than not, I can find a group of people to play with where that's just not happening.
Yeah.
So while it's still bad, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like, oh, we fixed that problem. You know, it's definitely getting better.
Yeah,
I think a lot of that has to do with like the people that were the ones being extremely toxic or starting to grow up, and like, you know, they're
I
becoming
hate to
adults.
say that, but yeah. 'Cause,
So
I mean,
it's-
I've met plenty of young people, and I mean, you know, you being one of them, you were by far like so far away from toxic that it was, you know, refreshing to a lot of people. But you know, but I hate to say it, but yeah, there's a lot of kids online that realize that, hey, you know, this shit talking is a good way to get under somebody's skin and get a good advantage over somebody on a
and
game.
then trolling just became a thing to do. It just became a meme.
Yeah.
It was like, haha, I can harass you until you can't take it anymore. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
wow,
I know
that's fun.
I know some adults that kind of thought that was cool for a little while, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, hell, I won't even let my daughter play Fortnite. Not because I think it's a bad game. It's actually, you know, a pretty interesting game. But no.
Community on it's just rough.
Yeah.
This took a dark turn.
Oh well.
Well, let's go back to what we were talking about before.
Well,
so
like that's how I grew up. That's the community I grew up with. Was
yeah. We just flipped over to Parker's story now.
yeah.
So
you guys
you were
got
playing-
like
Brad, what was your
cool.
gaming culture about? Oh, community and togetherness and sharing information. Parker, what about you? Toxic racism.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So you were playing in arcades.
Mhm.
When did you make the shift to home consoles, or did you ever really?
Well, I will say that my family, while we were comfortable, we didn't really have the money to just drop on game consoles. So there, for the longest time, I would go over to my cousin's house and my uncle's house, and they would each have a target. Well, whenever I'd go over to my cousin's house, and I got to watch him play, and then I'd go over to my uncle's house, and he let me play anything. And eventually, we got a PlayStation. Good lord, a Nintendo. Ooh, that was in the '90s, obviously. But I think it had to have been when I was in middle school. So like, yeah, it's been like 93 or 94 or something like that.
I wasn't even alive yet.
And then, for
came out in 83. So, I mean...
When did it come out?
Yes, it came out in 1983.
83?
Now, to be fair, that doesn't... I'm not saying that means you had to have gotten it in the 80s.
Right.
I mean, like, I was born in 87, and I didn't have my first NES until I was...
Well, let's just say...
like 5 or 6. So...
Let's just say this. I'm 41 years old right now. Y'all can do the math listening. I'm not going to do it. I was probably in 5th or 6th grade when I got the Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in 8th grade, my dad made me the deal that if I ever started in a football game, I could get whatever system I wanted. And this is, I started my last game of my 8th grade year, and I got Sega Genesis.
There you go.
Nice.
So 8th grade, and that was my first game. And God love them. They asked me what kind of game I wanted because, about then I was really big into Final Fantasy. And I was like, I just want a role-playing game. And they got me Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Ooh, ouch.
I don't get the reference.
It's a side-scroller kind of platformy kind of...
So Bram Stoker's Dracula was originally a book. Books are these things that, they cut trees up and pulp them into paper. I can't do that.
Say it.
You're going to make me say it.
You're not going to like it.
That's French thing. I can't do it.
Okay, boomer.
I'm a millennial, goddammit.
Okay, no, what's funny is that joke kind of took a distinct twist this time because it wasn't necessarily like, oh, you're too young to know what books are because they came and
because they came and left. No books are still around. You're absolutely right. Me. This is why I immediately stopped because I was like, this is not funny. This is not funny. This is not. I shouldn't try this.
The rambling is what actually. If you would have just stopped, you have to stop. But you kept going. You're like, I'm going to keep going until I get a reaction. So no. You cut it off. You cut it off. Then we laugh. Anyways, so yeah,
it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. It was like they took a movie license to make this game, and then they kind of loosely made it based off of the movie.
To this day, that's what video games based off of movies and stuff like that are. I mean, like if a video game company gets a hold of a license, they just put out whatever crap they can as quickly as possible to make money off of it.
Man, I don't know.
There are exceptions to that rule. Don't get me wrong. And vice versa too. Usually a video game movie is terrible. And there are exceptions to that rule. But it's
right. Yeah, you're right.
Sonic the Hedgehog?
I haven't seen it yet.
But you know what though? After they made the fixes, I've heard good things.
That's what I'm saying. I liked it.
Oh, gotcha.
I've heard both ways. I've heard people say it was a really good movie. I've heard people say that the only reason people are saying it's a good movie is because their expectations were so low after that first monstrosity, and just after being able to see the redesign, they're like, that's good enough. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I really want to see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
That is some sound ass logic.
Yeah.
Because now that I think, that definitely probably played a part in why I liked it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a video game movie. It's not an original.
Even then, all the adults who are watching it and giving it bad reviews, it's like, this movie's not for you anyway. It's obviously meant to be a kids movie. It's not going to be the next Citizen Kane or whatever. You need to calm down.
Not lower your standards, but
expectations at least.
Yeah.
So what did playing Atari look like for you? What kind of games did you play on Atari when you got to play Atari?
Well, I got to watch my cousin play some of the bigger name games that Atari had, like Pitfall, and there was a couple movie licensed ones. Again, I was really young at the time, but it was stuff I was excited for. Maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm not sure. E.T. No.
Yeah.
And then when I'd go over to my uncle's house, he had a whole bunch of games. And again, I'd go over there because he'd be watching me because my parents work. But he would have Missile Command, which I fucking loved. All the little sports games, just a whole bunch of stuff that and it's funny too, because now it's these video games are completely immersive, and You could just lose yourself in a game for hours. And back then, I really think that games were there just to pass the time. It wasn't necessarily like, you had 8 hours to kill. No, it's like you get home from work, like, and you had about an hour until dinner, so you would sit down and play for about an hour, and then you'd be done for the rest of the day. It wasn't supposed to be like a big, long, immersive thing.
All I do is go to school, come home, play video games, sleep, wake up, go to school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they were really counting on, like, kids actually going out and playing with their friends or doing homework. So yeah, now, Jesus,
Fuck
now,
that! I could be a space marine. I don't want to go get tackled. Some
right?
Bullshit.
Well, and it's like, and I think that's kind of what video game developers have finally realized, was that these kids who don't want to go out and get smeared across, gravel while they're playing football, they're wanting to stay in and have this fun and be safe and not bloody.
Yeah.
So now they're really making these games to cater to people who would rather stay in.
Yeah.
I know that there are games out now that, like, again, I mentioned the Atari games are there for a good, half hour. There are games out now that offer quests or missions that if you don't have more than 2 hours to devote to, you are not going to complete this mission.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, fuck. There are phone app games that are like that. You want to get anywhere in this game? I hope you got about an hour or two, because you're not getting anywhere.
Or your
Games
parents'
like
credit card.
Farmville.
What?
Games
Or
like Farm. Oh.
You either need several hours or your parents' credit card.
Right. And yes, I see where Parker's going. Go ahead.
Games like Farmville, where it's like all or nothing. You're either going to dedicate every moment you have to this game, or you're just not going to be good at it.
Right.
Your crops are going to die. Your animals will hate you.
Yep. It's very true.
I think I remember. I haven't played Final Fantasy 15 yet. Going to eventually, but my wife Tiffany played Final Fantasy 15, and there's this giant optional boss, this giant turtle thing, was it? And it takes hours, that one fight against that boss. Like, if you want to take down that boss, you've got to be fighting it for hours in order to take it down, just because of how much health it has.
Well, and then 15 is a MMO, right?
It is not. 14 is an MMO. 15 is just a standard game.
What the hell? It's not an MMO, and they put a thing in there where you have to fight something for hours?
Yeah.
I did it.
It's optional, though. Like, you don't have to do it to beat the game. It's one of those things where, like, oh, you can go fight this guy if you want to, but you never have to. Like, if you remember in, like, Final Fantasy VII, like, Bahamut was, like, an optional boss / summon. Like, you didn't have to go get Bahamut, but you could. There were a couple other bosses like that. It's kind of like that, where you can go fight him, but you don't have to.
Still, it's crazy.
It's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess on that note, I guess the direction I wouldn't mind taking the podcast and such, especially considering we were talking about community and kids who are, staying inside to avoid their friends, but yet they are...
Or their lack of friends, really.
Yeah. But, we all also know that they're playing with their friends online. Even if they're their online friends. So what about MMOs?
So I'm just going to be put it on Front Street. I don't know a whole lot about MMOs outside of, let's see, I played MapleStory for a little under a year. And that's basically, I played it just because it was free and a browser game, and I liked the art on it. And then I played World of Warcraft because some friends of mine played World of Warcraft. Oh, no, actually, I started playing World of Warcraft because a free demo of the game came in the box when you bought Season 10 of South Park on DVD. And then I continued playing it past the free demo because I had friends who played. namely you, Brad. You were playing World of Warcraft at the time, and I was like, "Oh, I tried this free demo," and you were like, "Oh, well, come over to my server and you can play with me." And then like I kind of continued from there.
Mm-hmm. Those are good days. I think that was my first real big MMO that I played. I tried to jump into like a couple other things, but it wasn't real. I don't know. It wasn't clicking. And then I got into Warcraft, and I mean Warcraft, and
like the RTS. Okay.
Yeah, played Warcraft 2, played Warcraft 3, which was the primer for everybody to get excited for World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and just a straight up good game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. That was in no way trying to diminish the appeal of that game. That was
Warcraft 3 was an amazing game.
Mm-hmm. But then World of Warcraft came out. Again, I was completely immersed in the world already, loved it, and I was like, you know what? I want to explore this more. And good Lord, that game ate up so much of my life. But I will have to say that it ate up a period of time in my life where I wasn't doing much anyways.
Okay.
So, it was great. It was a great time killer. And then once I got, back and we had, the baby and everything like that, a lot of that kind of just fell by the wayside. So I didn't really play much.
Yeah.
I played World of Warcraft from Burning Crusade to, what was it?
Cataclysm.
I came back in for Cataclysm. I played it. What was was it Frozen Throne? The one with Arthas, where he came, Lich King? Wrath of the Lich King, maybe.
Wrath of the Lich King is one of them.
Yeah, Wrath of the Lich King. So I stopped during Wrath of the Lich King for two reasons. One, sometime during Burning Crusade, I got my wife into the game. I knew she would like it, but she had a hard stance against playing games like that. So I made a deal with her, and I said, if you play from level 1 to level 10, I'll get you a puppy. And that's how we got our first dog together. And she loved the game, so she kept playing after that. The problem was she got a little addicted. So around the time of Frozen Throne, I stopped our Warcraft subscriptions, one, to kind of stop her addiction, and two, I was getting kind of tired of dailies, like doing the same thing over and over again every day, which is the grind just was too much. Then they came out with Cataclysm, and they announced that the Worgen were going to be a playable race, and they showed that trailer with the Worgen wearing a top hat, and they were like, I was like, Dapper Lycanthropes, I'm in. So like I started our subscriptions back up again, started playing, made a Worgen Rogue. I'd never played Rogue before, so I was like, this is going to be fresh for me. Started playing through quests, and I realized it was all the same. I'm like, they made little changes here and there, but I'm like, this is the same grind. This is the same game. I'm just not going to get into this. Cancel our subscriptions again. Then they came out with Mists of Pandaria or Pandera or however you say it. And I saw the trailer again, and I was like, oh, Kung Fu Pandas, I'm in. But then I was like, no, they got me last time. This is how they got me last time. And so I did not re-download. I did not get back in. So like I haven't played since then. So
yeah, I'll say I got in with the Worgen because I kind of like werewolves. They're okay. And I got in, and like I was running with my nephew, and he was like, oh, just get this and this and this, and it was like an armor set that like increased my XP.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't remember what it was. Like I said, I didn't play for very long, but I hit like level 10 in like literally like 5 minutes, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Well,
Going back to you don't like cheating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It totally felt like cheating. Even
there
though
was also that friend program. Like if you were playing with him, he probably got you in on the friend program.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
That friend program was ridiculous. That's one of the ways I got my wife into World of Warcraft so quickly, as I got her in on the friend program, and like she just like power leveled because of it.
Yeah, I hated it. It's like I wanted to really explore that starting area, but then it was like, okay, well, I'm level 20, and nothing is really. I'm still in the starting area. I don't have to be. I can move on. I really want this story. I really want to experience this story.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible.
I never played World of Warcraft. The only commercial I really remember is the panda one. But It
But
kind
you
of
did apparently play RuneScape for a bit, so you do have some MMO experience.
yeah. I played. I had an addiction. I would go to school, I would come home, and I would literally get 3 hours of sleep every night for school. In elementary school up until early middle school playing that game. It is where I learned to talk to people because I had no social interactions. Like I lived out in the middle of the country, so my closest neighbor was a trailer park across the highway, and I wasn't allowed to cross that highway, obviously. By myself, I had to take my older brother. My older brother was kind of a jackass, so he never really wanted to go. So yeah, I put a lot of time into it. I made some I think of them as friends. Obviously there's a one or two people that were fake, but
Right.
it's kind of just where I learned how to interact with my peers.
Yeah.
And I had fun doing it. I spent a lot of time on it. My character never really was that high of a level because I would spend most of my time just hanging out at the Grand Exchange, which is like this big market. Like it's a player
Mhm.
market where players can like sell stuff to each other, and I would just hang out there and talk to people. Like it was more of like a social thing for me than actually a video game. But
Yeah.
when I did play it, like for the game aspect, it was pretty fun. It is the first game I ever paid money to be a member of.
Oh
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
I mean, that's like, there might have been MMOs before RuneScape, but that's like the original MMO, right? Like that's the one everybody thinks of.
Yeah,
And then there was EverQuest and EverQuest 2, and then World of Warcraft was like the one that really
EverQuest
took
was the
off.
one that I tried to play a little bit of, and it just wasn't clicking with me. Oh, I think I tried to play Dark Age of Camelot too. Again, wasn't really clicking.
Yeah, I tried quite a few of them. Like I always tried to get that. Once I got tired of WoW and quit it, like I tried to get that WoW taste back a few times. I was like, maybe if I try this new MMO, I'll get that, kind of feeling back, I guess. I was chasing a high, all right, and I just couldn't get it. So like I tried Dungeons and Dragons Online. I've tried Neverwinter. I tried Final Fantasy 14, and like people would be like, "Oh, you need to go back and try Final Fantasy 14 again. They made a lot of changes. It's good now." I tried the changes. I tried it after it got good, if you will, after the whole end of the world and then rebirth of the world. I tried.
That phrase kills me every time I hear it. any iteration of it, especially when you throw dick fingers around it. It got good.
I tried Winter.
Now, let's stop here.
Okay.
Neverwinter.
Mm-hmm.
Neverwinter. Do you want to talk about a game I was fucking addicted to?
Now we're talking about the MMO or the original.
Oh, I'm talking about the MMO. I'm talking about the MMO.
Okay.
The one that's out now. Oh my gosh.
I've never seen someone put that much detail into a video game character. Like they had backgrounds and heartbreaks and like they and he's like, yeah, this is my paladin. She's level fucking like 20 something. There's like a whole book in her summary. I mean, it was cool, but
yeah, right. I still have her saved in the notes of my phone. I got pictures and like background story, and she's going to be part of a game one day. And I think I may end up. I want to save her to play her.
Yeah.
I don't think that an NPC spot will do her justice, but she is amazing, and she's actually co-created with my nephew. He did a lot of the design because he wanted her thick. So, double C.
It's Marcus, isn't it?
Nope, not triple C, not quite just the double C.
It was double C, and yes, it was Marcus. He ironically has a very good eye for the female form. Ironically, my gay nephew.
Why?
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about your experience with Neverwinter. Then it sounds like you really got into it.
So, as you may know, I have played D&D once or twice, and I wanted to play the Dungeons & Dragons online, never got to, and then this comes out, and it's like, oh, okay, and it was free, free MMO. That was just too good to be true, right?
Right.
Let's be fair. Yes, it is. It's a pay to win. You have to drop money in that game to get anything that will make you worth anything. But there are I don't know. There are ways for you to be able to earn stuff in game to be able to get the things that will allow you to get the stuff that will be good.
Sure.
which is what I did, which is why I put in so much time in this game.
You'd have to.
Yes. But it was great. It's a great D&D world. You get to meet, actual characters from Forgotten Realms that people know and love.
Yep.
Maybe some that should have been dead a long time ago, but they're still there.
It's still being updated to this day, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's still active.
Like they've added, like when 5th edition came out and they started to come out with 5th edition modules like Tyranny of Dragons and...
Oh, well, that's actually... Wait, is that right? Yeah, no, that's actually what they were running off of.
Yeah, well, like for a while, I mean, like I got into Neverwinter before D&D 5th edition was, and I remember like looking like the character when I started playing, and I was like, this is 4th edition, at-will powers and encounter powers and daily powers and stuff like that, and it was like my character was essentially a 4th edition character, and like they may have changed it since that. I didn't put a whole lot of time into. They're probably just, like I said, doing dates, actual D&D stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm. But it was fun for me, I think, because I got to play with people who I've actually played D&D with before. They put a lot of thought into their characters and backgrounds and stuff like that. And while we didn't really role play, we still had characters that had backgrounds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In a guild, and we were doing guild missions and making our guild house better, which is also really I love those. In role-playing games, tabletop video games, I love being able to make a base, make a place for your character to live, even if it's just like an apartment in the city to a keep on the wilderness. I love doing that. And in fact, actually, when City of Heroes did their whole secret base, that was great. But yeah, I think that I really liked it because it just had this sense of camaraderie, at least with my people, with my guild.
Sure.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I never really got into Neverwinter. I tried downloading it a couple times, but it was taking forever, and I just got frustrated and canceled the download like both times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think another reason I never really got into Neverwinter is I was playing it on PlayStation, not PC.
Yeah, I was trying to download it on computer, but
it's cross-platform, isn't it?
It is. So, like, if you're playing it on PlayStation, you get to play with people who are playing on PC. But I think trying to manage all my characters' abilities and stuff like that with a PlayStation controller instead of like the number bar, it puts you at a serious disadvantage, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a huge problem in the gaming community right now as more and more consoles become more cross-platform. Mm-hmm. They're supporting mouse and keyboard, and mouse and keyboard has a huge advantage in first-person shooters compared to controllers. Like on Rainbow Six Siege, people are just hooking up a mouse and a keyboard to their PlayStation somehow, and then just freaking destroying people.
Well, some of the better games are trying to even that playing field by like giving you a little bit of an aim assist if you're using a controller and things like that, and they don't give you that aim assist if you're using mouse and keyboard. But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Where were we on your journey, Brad? Like you had you were talking about what you played on Atari, and we made a shift kind of into MMOs.
Oh no! I was talking about Atari, and then I went to Nintendo, and then I got the Genesis. And honestly, once I hit the Genesis, it was pretty much downhill from there. I was let's see, like I said, 8th grade, and then shortly after that, I got my own job, and I was buying my own consoles at that point. Getting the PlayStation, I never really got the other. Oh, did I? No, I think someone else had it. We had a few people living in the house, and they brought an N64, which, by the way, pound for pound, still the best video game console ever made.
Ooh, making a bold statement there.
Yep. Pound for pound, I'm saying. Pound for pound.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Just
obviously you're not saying an N64 is going to outperform a PlayStation 4, but like, you're saying that like what you're getting, for what it is.
Well, the fact that there's Nintendo 64s that still run.
Yeah.
Like perfectly. Mm-hmm. They're like 8-hand consoles. They've just been passed around.
Well, and also think of all the games that are being played today that got their start on Nintendo 64. And I don't even necessarily mean, Super Smash Brothers. I'm talking about like you were talking about Rainbow Six. And let's talk about Halo. Let's talk about any of these first-person shooter games that were really got their revolution in GoldenEye.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. That was a fun game.
Oh my
God,
like that game. It's still a good game.
Yeah,
GoldenEye changed the fucking world.
It's too bad my friend was a bitch and he always had to use claymores.
Yeah, GoldenEye is definitely what brought it into multiplayer.
I don't see how that would. I don't see how that would be a problem. I mean, you got a gun, he's got a sword. What's the?
Protect your neck.
Oh, got it. But yeah, no, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, GoldenEye is definitely what brought it into multiplayer. The memories of sitting around with your friends and playing GoldenEye. I mean, like you could argue that first person started with Wolfenstein 3D and Doom and
right.
You know what I mean? But that
and I'm sure
GoldenEye is an entirely different thing.
Yeah, GoldenEye wouldn't exist if it wasn't for those games. I get it.
Right. Yeah.
But oh my god, the multiplayer aspect of that shit. Oh.
GoldenEye was also the one that was first one that was truly 3D. I mean, you had games like Wolfenstein and Doom, which were doing something unprecedented by taking 2D textures and presenting them in such a way that it looked like it was 3D. You know what I mean? There was no 3D rendering in those games. Those games were 2D, when it came to like the technology. And GoldenEye, actually taking a first-person shooter into 3D rendering, I'm pretty sure that was the first one to do that. And Nintendo, especially back then, has always been known to be pushing innovation. They're not doing what anybody else is doing. They were first into that whole 3D realm. They were even trying to do it back in the Super Nintendo when you had Star Fox. Star Fox, I think, was one of the first games to use polygon graphics to make it actually, 3D.
That game used to make me queasy.
It made everyone queasy.
New barrel.
But yeah, so and again, you want to talk about that game inspired so many other things, and then you have games that are still literally spawning sequels. So you got Super Smash Brothers, you've got fucking Mario Kart, you've got any of the WWE
Mario Party.
Games. Oh yeah, Mario Party. Which
Kart technically started on the Super Nintendo, but like
what did?
Mario Kart technically started on the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah, it did, didn't it?
But I mean, Mario Kart 64 is still the one that everybody, like, if they're going to go back and play an older one, nobody's playing Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. People will still go back and play Mario Kart 64 to this day.
Yep. Zelda, the game changed for Zelda.
Oh yeah, to go from the once again that 2D to 3D shift, to go from Link to the Past to Ocarina of Time. And there are still people to this day that say Ocarina of Time is their favorite game of all time, let alone their favorite Zelda game.
Which I respect, but I don't understand.
I could do an entire podcast rant on Ocarina of Time, all right, and why I think it's not all that great. I'm not going to, because there are people who have done that better.
Type in Ego Raptor.
Yeah, there are people who've done it better than I could ever do it. But but I completely acknowledge 100% that it is still a good game. It was a great game for the time, and it did things that no other game had ever done before it. And we wouldn't have the Zelda games that we have today if not for Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Breath of the Wild is such a good game.
Oh my God, Breath of the Wild. Once again, a game I could go on for hours about. Love that game.
That was such a well done game. They really went above and beyond on that one.
My favorite game of all time personally was...
Oh shit, we're talking about favorite games of all time? Oh God.
My favorite game of all time personally was probably A Link to the Past. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
That was
all the way up until Breath of the Wild came out. And now that's probably my favorite game of all time. Breath of the Wild is just amazing.
I was not ready for a favorite game of all time.
I wasn't either.
And it doesn't have to be a topic we talk about right this second. It just
no, Rick, you brought it up. You brought it up, Rick.
This is happening.
This evil is on you. but we're gonna have to sit here for a half hour in silence. So.
I'm gonna need a lunch break.
That's okay. I got a truncate silent button. We can make it real easy.
Yeah. It would either have to be Halo 2 or no, never mind. It'd either have to be Halo Reach or Pokemon Emerald.
I fucking hate Halo 2. God, I hate Halo 2.
What the fuck did you just say?
Okay.
I'm about to be real fucking toxic here in a second, buddy.
let me put some qualifiers on this. When I was in the Navy and I served on the USS Enterprise, we had a ship-wide LAN, like video game systems and computers hooked up ship-wide.
Yeah.
And you had a Warcraft server that people were running. I never got on the Warcraft server just because that was after I had quit WoW and I didn't really want to get into it. And there was a Xbox server, but all anyone ever wanted to play was Halo 2. So 6 months straight of nothing but Halo 2. I liked Halo 2 before that deployment, but 6 months later of nothing but Halo 2, I can't stand Halo 2 anymore. I don't think it's a bad game. It's like eating too many SpaghettiOs, man. Like SpaghettiOs are great, but like once you've had too many, you'll never want to touch a can again, you know?
Yeah, but like, have you ever eaten SpaghettiOs on every difficulty co-op?
Yes, I have. 6 months, once again, 6 months of there's a lot you can do a lot to fill the time of 6 months.
I think for my favorite game of all time, I think I'm gonna go with two. I'm gonna have one retro and one modern.
Okay.
Only because I can't feel like I can do this. Final Fantasy 1.
Oh, so good.
Fallout New Vegas.
Once again, so good. I've spent many hours with both of those games.
Fallout New Vegas was so fucking surprising.
People give it shit because they're like, "Oh, it's boring. It's just a big desert."
If they think that, they don't know what they're doing.
It's like, have you explored it all, motherfucker? Did you walk out of Good Springs? Did you see sand and go, nope, not for me?
I don't like the desert. You could die out there.
Geckos? Fuck that.
New Vegas was the first one to do the hardcore mode too, right?
The survival mode? Like you have to drink and eat?
Like where you actually have to drink and eat, and like you can also like turn off like fast travel and stuff like that. So you like
ammo had a weight, so you couldn't just have like 10,000 9mm rounds in your pocket.
Yeah, that one, that was talk about immersive.
I've tried. I've never been able to do survival mode on any of the Fallouts.
No.
I've done it. And once again, it's just because I've spent so much time with Fallout. I mean, Fallout 3, I beat Fallout 3 without firing a gun outside of the tutorial. Because in the tutorial, you have to fire the BB gun. Like, you cannot continue that game without firing that BB gun. But after firing that BB gun, I didn't fire a gun again. I did a playthrough. I should say I shouldn't say I've never fired a gun in Fallout 3. I fired lots of guns in Fallout 3. But I did a playthrough. Yeah, that run, I didn't fire a gun after the BB gun. That was an interesting run.
Yeah, that's so good.
I remember in Fallout 3, I built like in that house you get in Megaton.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep all the items I got from the story, and I would like put them on a desk and decorate my room as like a little memory area. Like, oh, remember when I killed my first Deathclaw? So I'd put like the Deathclaw's hands underneath my bed, like there was a monster underneath my bed.
Oh, nice. I did that with my house in Megaton and my apartment in Tenpenny Tower.
Nice.
Because I'm a monster and I blew up Megaton in one of my playthroughs.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Not Megaton.
That was an
They
interesting.
definitely didn't deserve it from building a town around a bomb.
Yeah,
That was an interesting playthrough because after I blew up Megaton, I then went to Tenpenny Tower, got my room in Tenpenny Tower, and then helped the ghouls take over Tenpenny Tower. So like I took the mission in Tenpenny Tower to blow up Megaton, and then I had the ghouls invade Tenpenny Tower and kill everyone in it.
I'm still waiting for the Fallout game where you play as a ghoul.
Yeah, or become a ghoul. Like you have the option to become a ghoul during the course of the game.
Yeah.
Here's why I don't think they'll ever do it.
Okay, why?
Ghouls are immune to radiation.
Mm-hmm.
big parts of challenge in that game, or the obstacle you have to get past is radiation, like not being able to drink radiated water without some sort of negative effect, not being able to go in a certain area without the right equipment. Like it would be such an advantage to play. They'd have to come up with a real disadvantage to balance it out. So
Maybe
that's what
you got like negative charisma because you're a ghoul.
it had to be something bigger than that. I mean, like, because you can create a character with low charisma.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm more of about the story than the mechanics.
Yeah, I'm with you, Parker, but I also understand what Rick is saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to play
balance.
as a ghoul. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to play as a ghoul. I'd love to have a game where you could play as a ghoul or a super mutant or like all the other, or a synth. Oh my God, I'd love to play as a synth.
Oh yeah.
But that's why I don't think they'll ever do it, because like mechanically it would be such an advantage to play as like a ghoul or a synth.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or just bring it over from their other game and let me play a werewolf. That'd be great. I had a hard time not throwing the Elder Scrolls games in there.
It's one of your favorites of all time.
Yeah, Bethesda, I think that especially with those games really, really got me.
Oh yeah.
It's like those style. Oh my God, especially Morrowind, when you can first off, when I'm first playing the game, I didn't know that you eventually got your own houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into that first little town, not the first town, but the town after that. And I go into that building and there's just a dead body on the floor. And I'm just like, what? It's a free house.
I didn't do that.
So
I wanted to do that.
So the maid is just trapped in the closet upstairs. I never let her out. And
you didn't let her out and kill her. No, you just kept her trapped.
Yeah, she stayed in there.
She got demoted to serf.
Right. So and then also that's also back before you could just set stuff out and it would stay there forever.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I would just take all my stuff, bring it in there, throw it in the boxes, leave them on tables, sleep there. Oh yeah, because for some reason you can sleep on the bed and it doesn't register as stolen. Like you don't get in trouble for sleeping in the bed. So yeah, I had a free house. Great. But then, you start doing these the guild missions and all these other missions, and you get a house for each of the guild, and joining a house, you get a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun. I loved it.
Yeah, say what you want about Bethesda, because I mean, like their games can be glitchy a lot and stuff like that, but those motherfuckers know how to tell a story.
Yeah.
Which we cannot. A lot of people don't realize this, but Fallout New Vegas was not made by Bethesda. It was published by Bethesda, but it was, who was it? Was it Rocksteady?
Obsidian.
You're right. It's Obsidian, which they made a lot of other really good games too.
They just recently released something. I don't remember what it
No,
was.
I want to play that so bad too. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but I want to play it.
Outer Worlds or something like that?
Yeah, actually, you know what? And this, Yes, I think it is called Outer Worlds. And it looks amazing.
Yeah,
I want to play it.
That's the one.
I actually heard it wasn't that great.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but good things about Outer Worlds. I was actually around Christmas time. I had a GameStop gift card, and they were having a buy two get one free pre-owned game sale. And I asked my friends what games I should get, and like the 3 games I got recommended to me were Outer Worlds, Jedi Fallen Order, and Persona 5. But I already had Persona 5 at that point in time. And I went and bought Jedi Fallen Order and loved that game. That game so much, I sent it to Brad because it was like, you need to play this game.
Yep, I'm playing it on easy and I'm loving it.
Are you?
I have it at the house. I've just never played it.
After we're done recording the podcast, we are going to talk about that. But anyway, and then Persona 5. I absolutely love that game. I love it so much I bought it twice. Persona 5 Royale came out, or Royal, however you want to say it, came out, and I'm playing it again.
Jeez.
Oh, yeah, we could also talk about the current craze right now, too. And you know what I'm talking about.
There are so many right now. I mean, like, we have... Look, man, like, you might look at me like that, but, like, there are a few different ways this could go. There's the Final Fantasy VII Remake. There's Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal, They've all come out very recently with.
What is everybody posting about on Facebook, TikTok, fucking ding dong, everything?
Mine's Animal Crossing. That's what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
I mean, like, but
I'm
like
getting a Switch tomorrow for that fucking game.
Are you?
Yes.
I played. Let's talk about Animal Crossing a little bit since we're here.
I've never played it before ever.
I played the first Animal Crossing to come to the US, which was on the GameCube, and I played the one that was on the 3DS. I think that's Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Yeah, that's the only one I've played. I thought you meant the new one that came out.
I have not played the new one because both the original one and New Leaf. I played the original one. It wasn't my cup of tea. New Leaf came out. My friends were raving about it. They were like, it's different from the original. You have to try it. I tried it. At the time, I was working at GameStop. When you work at GameStop, you can borrow a game for a few days and bring it back. They want you to do that. That way you have knowledge about the games to be able to sell them better. Still didn't like it. I mean, like I did everything. I mean, like I could see why other people liked it, but I didn't like it. And so when this new one came out, I didn't get it. I was like this. I'm not going to buy this. I'm playing Persona 5 Royal right now. Thank you very much.
I will say that all this hype for Animal Crossing has been pretty exciting, but it's never made me want to go out, get a Switch, and then get Animal Crossing with my hard-earned stimulus money to then having my daughter be super excited about this game, making me on her island, and like so we can share an island. And now it's just like, now I just want to get this game. I want to play on my island. I want to get all kinds of stuff and then just go over to her island and dump all of it. Give her all the bells, give her all the whistles.
Well, you're only getting one Switch and one copy of the game, right?
Correct. She has one at her mom's house.
Oh, okay. So you're getting one, and so you won't be sharing an island. You will have your own separate islands.
Yes. We were sharing an island on her Switch.
Gotcha. Well, I will say, once you have a Switch, there are a lot of good games you can look forward to because the Nintendo Switch is an amazing console with some amazing games on it.
It really is. I just wish the controllers weren't so crap.
There are so many different controller options, though. Like I gotta argue with you on that one. I mean, like, if you don't like the Joy-Cons, you can use the dog ears. If you don't like the dog ears, you can get a Pro controller.
It's not even really the design. Both my controllers have drift, and they're $60 each.
You can fix that now, though. I mean, like, controller drift is so easy to fix.
Parker, you awoke the retail worker in Rick.
Not even that. No, you awoke the Nintendo fanboy in Rick, which that is one thing. I don't Nintendo. Don't spike my audio, damn it! This is a podcast. Now you have woken the editor in Rick.
Oh God!
Don't spike my
audio.
audio.
Am I gonna awaken the pickle, Rick?
Oh no!
Oh no!
I got to get to drinking for that one.
I shit you not, Brad. He turns himself into a pickle.
Funniest shit I've ever seen.
Jesus. Is this going in the podcast?
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh man.
But Joy-Con drift is I'm going back to it. I'm not letting it go. Joy-Con drift can be fixed so easy nowadays. I mean, you could either fix it yourself or like Nintendo will replace your Joy-Cons for free.
Yeah, but like
not now.
They could have just not been broken.
Have you ever tried not being broken?
But I mean, like,
have you ever tried not having a huge design flaw in a $60 controller?
I mean, like, shit happens, man. I mean, like, if you want to talk about that, I mean, like, have you ever tried like being Microsoft and not releasing a console that would like brick? I mean, like,
no. That's why people wouldn't play Xbox though. You just kind of played right into Parker's.
No, that's not true. Xbox 360 was one of the most popular consoles.
No, I mean, yeah, like, but what I'm saying is there are people that like legit was just like I hate Xbox. Why? Because the one I got bricked on me. So I went and got my money back. Now I'm PlayStation.
Yeah, but like, point being is like Nintendo fixed it. Xbox never fixed their shit. They released a new console.
In Nintendo's defense, the controllers I have are the controllers that like just came out with the console when it on first release.
Nintendo handled it correctly, where Microsoft was just like, oh, well, if you got a brick to console, you got a brick to console. Oh, well, they came out with a new one later. But like, Nintendo redesigned the controller, so if you get one of the newer ones, it doesn't happen. They replaced the older ones for free, and they released instructions on how to fix it yourself for free, which is like unprecedented for Nintendo, because Nintendo never lets you know how their shit works. You know what I mean? It's one of the reasons
like the Apple of gaming consoles.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons the GameCube didn't use DVDs or like CDs for their games. They used proprietary discs. That way, no one else had their shit.
Yeah.
You know,
actually, I'm going to apologize to Nintendo for comparing them to Apple. My bad. That was not cool.
But no, there are certain things there are certain hills I will die on, and like Nintendo's hill is one of them. I mean,
Switch
like
controller is just one of them.
Yeah.
Not just Nintendo, specifically those controllers.
Yes, specifically those controllers, because like I will not stand behind the Wii U and a lot of the shit that they did with the Wii U. But like the Switch, I mean, like if you don't like the controller, I don't know what's up there, because like you have so many different options.
If you don't like the controller,
but not a lot of money is, I guess, what my point was. Is like
they're cheap. You can get a pro controller for less than $20.
I don't have $20.
Yeah, that's actually kind of But fuck Nintendo.
Fuck you.
Oh no, he's an angry pickle.
Oh man. By the way,
we'll get there.
By the way, Rick, I apologize now. I don't know what this is my biggest character flaw, I think. I will find something that really bothers somebody.
You think I don't know?
Like I have a friend that loves Metallica, and I will say shit like, you know what really sucks? What's that? Metallica. Even though I like stuff. Huh?
Is that the guy that that was in the store and or in the Wolf, and I said I said Green Day really defined modern rock, and he was giving me fucking death stares from across the store for the rest of the night?
I mean, maybe.
Like a joke too. I was like, yeah, man, Green Day really defined modern heavy metal. And he fucking gave me.
And like, you know how my friend Michael, who is bound to be on this podcast at some point, one of my favorite things to do to him is be like, hey, you remember that movie Detroit Rock City? Yeah. You know what the worst part about that movie was? What's that? Guess what's in it? He doesn't like it when I say these things.
You think I don't know this about you? That and your ability to joke about something, but like give it the same straight face as if you're serious, and like the inability to tell when you're joking and when you're not.
We're talking about character flaws, Rick.
Yeah. I know.
A super floppy straight man.
Like that in a playful way infuriates me about you.
Do you know what the flaw in that is, though? That sometimes I don't realize I'm doing it.
Oh, okay.
The flaw is when I make that delivery, and on the inside I feel like I'm smiling and winking at you, but on the outside,
you're like actually getting upset. And then you just kind of look like the bro, it's a prank guy.
Oh my god.
All right, where were we on video games?
I
don't know. Rewind the tape.
Something about
just got done controller shaming me.
Yes, I did. I did.
Oh my god. We were talking about Animal Crossing.
So, like I was saying, you've got a lot of really good games coming your way when it comes to the Switch. You have to play Breath of the Wild. It's a necessity. I mean, like the real problem with Nintendo is Nintendo stuff never goes down in price.
How fucking dare you say that about Nintendo?
Give him a break, jeez.
If you were
Old
to
news.
if you were to go buy a GameCube today, and I don't know how old the GameCube is at this point, and buy the the good games for GameCube, like the ones that Nintendo actually put out, like Super Mario Sunshine, Smash Brothers Melee, Mario Kart Double Dash, or even some of the non-Nintendo stuff that just got really big on that console, like Eternal Darkness. Those games are all still full price, if not higher than full price, like because people know what they've got when they're selling it.
Yeah,
you know,
Pokemon games have a tendency to just explode in price out of nowhere.
That's true. Yeah, like so that's the thing. That is the one thing about you getting a Switch. It's like if you want to play, like if you want to wait a couple years and like buy the games for cheap afterwards, that does not work.
Oh, I would like to throw on an honorable mention to my greatest games of all time as Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis.
Oh, that's a good one.
I never played it. I had a Sega Genesis. I never played Shadowrun.
So good. So that is one of the few games that I cheated on guilt-free because I loved the story so much, but it got to the point where the actual gameplay was too hard for me to enjoy it. So I just I turned on the cheat codes. I got all the money. I got all the cyberware. I got all the stats I could. And then I'm just like, okay, I'm going to wade through this and just pay attention to the story. And let me tell you, that story, great. Great.
Al dente.
Al dente.
You said you got the Sega Genesis hoping to get some RPGs. Did you get any other good RPGs on the Genesis?
I did. Actually, another one of my favorite RPGs that I've played, I believe, was Phantasy Star 4.
I was gonna say, didn't Phantasy Star get its real start on the Genesis? Like that's when it became popular.
And I think it was 4. I think it was maybe Phantasy Star Generations. Is that what it was called? Was it called Generations? Regardless, it involves you starting with. It's almost like a dating sim as well. Okay. So it's like you have like a character, and then you end up choosing who you get with, which affects the children that you have, and then those children go on to the next generation. You play as the children. And then those children have to choose who they are going to hook up with, and then they have children. Yeah,
that's an interesting mechanic.
I think it goes through 3 generations. Oh, tons of replay value because it's like, all right, well, let's go back and see what happens when I have these kids. So yeah.
What game were you talking about again?
Phantasy Star. With a PH.
So Fire Emblem does something like that too.
Who?
Fire Emblem.
Oh, I've heard good things about Fire Emblem.
Which one?
The one on the Switch.
3 Houses?
I don't know. I never played it. My brother was just talking it up, and he said that's what you can do in it. I actually bought my Switch from my brother used because he got bored of it in like a month, and he had Fire Emblem and then Zelda.
I've played a lot of Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem can thank Smash Brothers for coming over to the U.S. because not a single Fire Emblem game even touched the U.S. until Smash Brothers came out, and people were like, "Who's Marth?"
Yeah.
And yeah,
now there's like 15.
It's got a huge following over here now.
Oh yeah. Oh, I looked at the blurb for it and it looks okay. Have you seen the blurb for it, Rick?
For Fire Emblem?
Yeah, 3 Houses.
I've seen a lot of stuff for it. I've seen like trailers and stuff like that. I don't know if the exact blurb of what you're talking about is something I've seen. I do think it would be right up your alley, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have an alley. I have an alley, and it's right there. I see it. It's at the mouth of my alley. It's threatening to come inside. Wait.
I feel like you would.
Run! Don't go in that alley.
Stop breaking my audio.
But no, good job, Parker. Or who said that it would be right up my alley? You?
I initially did, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely had me pegged. Wait.
I definitely. Over and over, buddy.
Why would he need a peg?
Double dong. I don't know.
I mean, sometimes store bought is fine.
Welcome to the podcast again, Parker. All this is getting done.
You don't call him Pickle Rick for nothing.
No, it ain't either. But yeah, I think it'll have a lot of replay value for you too. I could see you playing that game multiple times. But there are two modes. There's the standard mode, and then there's more of a story mode. And I would highly recommend going to the story mode because it's an RTS type game, but it's turn based. So like you kind of move your characters. There's like a grid. You move your characters on the grid. You have this guy attack this guy. There are strengths and weaknesses depending on what type of units you're using, and in the standard mode, it has permadeath. So if one of your little units dies in one of those battles, they're gone forever. Meaning you can never see that person's story. And like a lot of these characters have their own stories, have relationships that can develop.
Yeah.
But if you play like the easy mode, then if they fall in battle, then they're back up at the end of the battle.
Oh, oh that's scary, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like
a video game.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could turn that feature off. Like,
I'm having an anxiety attack just thinking about it.
Uh-huh. It makes you, I will say, anytime I've played it, I've kept it turned on because it really makes you think, about your battles.
I think it also makes you value the game. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Makes you value that more.
Like,
oh right, yeah.
My brother told me he restarted once because his main character died.
Ugh.
I've played Pokemon Nuzlocke runs for that very reason, because it gives you an entirely new view of your Pokemon and their value. And
the Spawn just started her Nuzlocke today.
Oh yeah, which game?
She doing?
She's doing Shield or Sword. I can't remember which one she has.
Oh geez, for a Nuzlocke?
Yes.
The modern games Nuzlocke, like that's.
She's going hard, man.
I don't know if I could do that.
We're gonna have a step-in special guest real quick.
All right, you gonna introduce her?
Yep.
Okay.
So we got the really old to the kind of old to the kind of young to the really young. Have a seat, everybody. It's the Spawn. Say hi, everybody.
I'll blind you.
So we were just talking about you starting your Nuzlocke today. We're talking about video games.
Ah.
So
I'm very good at video games.
Can you hear her just fine?
Absolutely. She's come through loud and clear.
You said you're very good at video games?
I don't know if I am.
So she is 10 now, and she is really into like the newer games, but I know that she has had experience in some of the older games. Like she's played Pokemon Moon, which is, again, kind of new. But you played some of the older Pokemons.
I think I've played Pokemon Red.
Pokemon, you may have played Pokemon Yellow, actually.
I think.
Was Pikachu following you around?
No.
Okay, then maybe Red. I don't know.
It's about as old as you can go.
I didn't like it very much.
So I'm trying to keep her. I'm trying to keep her like cultured and letting her experience some of the old stuff. And I know her stepdad is actually working on keeping her into some of the older stuff too. But yeah. But I'm really like the whole concept of Nuzlocke was alien to me. Alien.
Oh, yeah.
Not a clue what Nuzlocke was. And here she is busting out a Nuzlocke on Shield.
Yeah.
Which
I'd like to say I very much admire. Like I would never try.
I have no idea what they're saying.
Go ahead.
I'd like to say I very much admire. I would never try a Nuzlocke run on the modern games. Like I've played, Sun and Moon, and to try to Nuzlocke that game, I can't even imagine. Like I've done Nuzlocks on Pokemon Heart Gold, and some of the earlier games, but like what applause to you for Nuzlocking a Sword or Shield game.
I haven't died yet, but my character is still pretty young to the game, so.
Yeah, I was actually following along with her when she first started it, and she cheated once.
I did, just to get a Rockruff.
But that's all she wanted, a Rockruff. So
fair.
Yeah. So
I'm addicted to cute Pokemon.
Yep.
There are ways when I was doing my Heart Gold Nuzlocke run, there's a spot that you reach called Bellsprout Tower. And if you go in during the day, you're gonna run into a Bellsprout.
I love Bellsprout.
If you go in at night, then you'll run into a Ghastly. Like that tower's full of ghosts at night. So when I was playing my Nuzlocke run, I waited. I stopped playing because that's a day and night cycle that runs off actual day and night. I waited until the sun went down to go into Bellsprout Tower because when I went in, I wanted the first Pokemon I ran into to be a Ghastly. So you could even call that cheating a little bit because I waited to go in until I knew there was going to be a Ghastly.
It's like that graveyard in... Which game was it? The one with the creepy town, Lavender Town. That's the one that made a lot of
games.
Themselves.
That's just Kanto region.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the original ones. That's Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow.
Yeah, Red, Blue, Yellow.
Let's Go
Yeah,
Pokemon,
like
Let's
that.
Go Eevee. Yeah, exactly like that. Yep.
I will say this: if she hasn't played the games, I think that she's really worked on like getting established on the lore of it as well. Is something I really like because like she likes Pokemon, so she watches a lot of stuff on Pokemon. So even if she hasn't played some of these games, she's established on the lore of these games. So that
is something I will definitely give the younger generation of gamers with YouTube being a thing now, things like Matt Pat's Game Theory and everything like that. You know, younger gamers love the lore of games, which I love that they love. Because like I remember when I'm growing up with games, there was a portion when I was growing up with games where you had nothing but power gamers, people who would just skip the cutscenes and not even care about the story. They have no idea what was going on. They were just trying to beat it as best and as fast as possible. Right. And, you know, people are really getting into the lore of games now. They're to the point where there's hidden lore that you've got to dig deep and find. And like, they're still doing it. And like, when I was growing up with games, they wouldn't have done that.
Prime example, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck?
There's so much
lore.
Oh my God. And it's such a simple game.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much lore you can't fit it into a clown car.
That
like there are comic books.
That's actually kind
novels,
of a clever
games.
That's a clever
There's games, there's like
books.
Posters.
Actually I need to get you the next book, don't I? Book.
There's a lot of books.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There's like
it's crazy.
Posters, you gotta like undim the lights to see. You gotta look deep into the code. Gotta look deep into the posters.
Hiding stuff in the code
of the game. Yeah, like you gotta like know what you're doing. Oh yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Games. I don't know how they do it.
That would not have been a thing when I was growing up gaming.
They must be masochists.
Oof.
Cawthon must be a masochist.
Oof. Look, the term isn't always sexual, guys.
Oof.
All right. Well, I just wanted to bring you in here to have you debut on our little podcast and have you talk about your Nuzlocke a little bit.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, baby.
Goodbye.
Bye. Go immerse yourself in more lore, because I guarantee you that's what she was doing before she was here. No? What were you doing?
Laughing at boob jokes.
Boob jokes? Yeah, those are fun to laugh at. She's my daughter. So here is the topic that I've really been dying to talk about, especially taking into account my background, Rick's background, Parker's background. I want to know, not games that are out now, what are you really looking forward to getting your hands on? And this could be any game, any console, like it could even be PC, any video or handheld game. What video games are you fucking hyped to play?
So I will say, I used to be, have my finger on the pulse of this, working in video game stores and like reading the magazines and but like, I will say there's probably a lot coming out that I would be excited about if I knew it was coming out, but I have kind of fallen behind on that. I will say I'm very excited, and I don't know when it'll come out. It probably won't even be next year, but I am very excited for Breath of the Wild 2, whatever they end up calling that. Like I said, Breath of the Wild is probably my favorite game of all time now. And like when they gave us that little teaser that they were going back to that world, and like, oh my God, like so excited for whatever comes out of that, the next Breath of the Wild game. And the other thing I did hear about, they are remaking a lot of the 3D Mario games. Like we're going to be getting Super Mario Sunshine again remade. We're going to be getting, Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2 and a lot of those games. I will probably be indulging in those.
Nice.
Here comes a guild train.
Oh yeah.
What's the guild train excited about? Train Simulator 2021.
That's right. Parker, you just got a game that and I'm going to go ahead and include this because it just came out.
Yeah, it's been out for like 2 weeks.
So this game you have been so fucking hyped for. Like your excitement for this game has got to match my excitement for the new Dresden books coming out. I mean,
I don't know.
I can't breathe. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was funny. I was joking.
All right. So, but no, really, yeah, you are like, I'm pretty sure you sacrificed a couple children to get this game to come out faster.
No comment. No, but Bannerlord is what I assume you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been excited for that game for about 5 years. I'm like, sorry if my audio sounds weird now, but I'm like trying to talk quieter.
No, you're fine.
At least you're not going to spike the audio.
I'm gonna hate you.
Right in the mouth.
So tell me a little bit about that because, forgive me, but I haven't even heard of that game.
So Bannerlord is a game where you enter the world of Calradia, and it is based off of early medieval history. There's a bunch of different factions and a bunch of different kingdoms that have a specific culture and economies and what like how they function. And your character goes into this world, complete sandbox, and you make a name for yourself. You can be a bandit, you can be a fur trader, you can just open up enterprises, you can be a Viking, you can work your way through the nobility and become a king yourself. You become a mercenary if you want, a traveling merchant, a horse breeder, just whatever you want to do. There is a way that you eventually will be able to do it. A lot of this stuff's not in it yet because the game's in early access.
So it's technically not out yet.
Yeah. They
so this is a game you could be excited about then.
Oh yeah. So the reason it's not out yet technically is they got about halfway done with it. And Tailworlds, which is the people who develop it, are a small Turkish game developing group. And they took it upon themselves that they didn't like where the game was going. It took so long for them to develop it that technology had gotten so far that their game already felt old and clunky and it wasn't even out yet. So they scrapped it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they scrapped it. And instead of using an engine that was already developed by someone else, they decided to make their own engine and then make it super moddable.
I mean, to already be taking on a game that ambitious and then to make your own engine for it too. They got...
Yeah, he was telling me about this game, and I was just shocked at the level of potential that it had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the mods alone, like there's total conversion mods that like there's a Lord of the Rings mod because there's 3 games out. There's Mountain Blade Warband, and then this one that's about to be out, or it's early access, Mountain Blade Bannerlord. There's mods that completely change the game into like Game of Thrones universe, and you can go be, whatever you want to be in the Game of Thrones universe, I guess.
That's crazy.
I would recommend looking it up because I think you guys would like it if you guys like RPGs. There's even mods that make it fantasy. There's dragons and stuff.
I would very much like to play it. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Maybe when I can, I'll bring the computer over and you can try it out.
Yeah.
It is only on console right now, but it is only on computer right now, but it will eventually get ported over to console. But that might be a while because they're still figuring out bugs and stuff for the computer.
Oh, yeah. Console will be a whole different monster.
Mm-hmm. But I've been excited for this game for about 5 or 6 years. I don't remember right off the top of my head. And I've probably put like 1,400 hours into Mountain Blade. The second one, Mountain Blade Warband. So I'm definitely a little fanboy about it.
Yeah, I get it.
I just want to say I'm definitely more excited than Brad is for whatever game he's talking about.
I don't know.
Mr. Bannerlord and
Oh man, that end boss is gonna be amazing. Doctor
Professor Evil Bannerlord.
Bannerlord. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the little backstory. I know nothing about the game, and I totally turned that into a comedy routine, which I'm pretty sure infuriated Parker, but anybody listening to it probably would have peed themselves.
Sometimes you just take pictures of our or take snaps of our conversation, and I'm just like, excuse you, that was personal.
Well, I just want to remember it forever.
And I appreciate that. But the reason I use Snapchat is that it deletes it later.
Oh, man.
No, I don't care. I use Snapchat because it's convenient.
Yeah.
So what are you excited for there, Baron?
So what game am I most excited for?
Yes, what are you excited for, Baron?
Fucking Hytale.
Tell me about Hytale, because like I know you brought this up in a chat or something not that long ago, and I was like, what the fuck is a Hytale?
All right. Hytale is a game that if you looked at it, you'd be like, holy shit, it's Minecraft. But it's so much fucking more than Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
The skin on it, you could easily take the skin from Hytale and throw it onto a Minecraft game.
Mm-hmm.
But they have, we'll call them mobs for the sake of argument.
Mm-hmm.
But you have mobs that are in settlements. These settlements, depending on which biome you're in, these settlements are essentially one race of beings. And then you'll have another race of beings that are actually competing with this other race of beings. So they're like competing for territory, they're competing for resources, and here you are like the only fucking human in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you are either making friends with people or you're fighting people. You are also competing. You can mine, you can build just like Minecraft. There's still details coming out on it, but apparently the AI on this thing is so much more sophisticated than her.
Yeah.
So like they actually have motivations. Like they have a way. Like I saw a clip of like this. I can't remember what, but it looks like a troll, and like you're running by, and instead of fighting it, he threw some meat out, and the troll went for the meat. So basically, let's just say the troll's vision is like, let's just say 5 squares out. You throw the meat out, and it goes down to like 1 square out. So you can sneak by at that point.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like you could throw like carrots out, and maybe a rabbit will come and sniff it or something like that. And
some cheese at a mouse.
Yes, that was the video I was. It wasn't a carrot and a rabbit; it was cheese and a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
So that implies that you can either A, get cheese, or B, make cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks beautiful. They have like big fucking monsters in here too. Like there was a scene of like an ice giant like throwing a huge chunk of landscape at you. And I'm not sure if that actually affected the landscape or if it was just like, one of those animations where they pull it up and the ground is still there, but he's got a chunk of earth in his hand. You know what I mean? It would be great if he pulls a chunk out and that chunk is gone.
Oh yeah.
But it looks amazing. I think I've got Parker kind of hyped for it. I'm excited for it. I'm trying to get anybody I can hyped for this because I want y'all playing too.
Is it PC?
I'm sure it will be.
What are you going to be playing on? Is that what I should be asking?
Depending on what it comes. If it comes out on PC first, then I'm playing PC. I'm getting it as soon as it comes out.
Gotcha.
I think it's due for next year, and I vaguely remember saying it was only going to be on computer for a little while, and then it was going to get ported over to console.
Yeah, I mean that's probably pretty fair. But yeah, fuck, I can't wait. It's great. And then I mean on top of that, I'm sure there's other games that I'm fucking hyped for that I really God of War 5, which with everything going on, it's probably been pushed back so far that I hope it hasn't been canceled. But after all the story, like I like God of War anyways, but this latest God of War put so much into the story.
So good.
Oh my god,
I haven't played it yet.
so good.
Oh man, you have to. I got the special edition of that game. I've got the Kratos statue sitting over there in my dining room, and I've got like the ring and like, you know, oh, that was such a good game.
Mhm.
It's just sitting in the house. I just never play it.
Oh, you even have it.
Yeah, my brother plays PlayStation games, and he's living with us right now. So he's got like a bunch of PlayStation games.
Yeah, again, I mean, you can definitely go for the challenge of the game if you want to, but the story is what makes it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Boy.
And like just like the okay, so let me talk about this game for a second. First of all, the entire game, like if it were a movie, it's one shot. Like the game, like if you go into a cutscene, the camera never cuts.
Mhm.
Like you have one camera, that camera stays on from the moment you turn on the game to the moment you beat the game. Like it never deviates, which is just storytelling wise and cinematically is amazing and an accomplishment. And like I'd love to see that more from games. Two, while the story is amazing, the gameplay is just so solid. Like the mechanics and what you can do and the versatility, it's just so, just like I said, for lack of a better word, it's just so solid. Yeah. Then you do have the story, and the story, not only is it telling you the story that you're playing, but if you take the time to dive into, like, you get these lore stones, and like you have one of your companion characters telling you stories throughout the entire game. And if you look into it, and like optional quests that tell more of the story, like if you dig into it, there's so much to be had. And I am not the type of gamer to 100% complete a game. Normally, when I play through the story, I'm like, I'm done the story, and that's because I don't have a ton of time for games, and there are a lot of games I want to play. So if I'm going to play them all, I can't spend hundreds of hours on one game. But God of War, the newest one, I spent so much time on the game. I did all the extra stuff. I went and found all the optional bosses. I fought all the optional bosses. I went and did the extra optional areas because I just wanted more. Like every time I finished one thing and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm done. Like I would be like, no, I need more of this game, and I'd go do all that optional stuff. Just so good. So good.
I don't think I've ever played a game like that. That made me want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's really rare for me.
I'm really glad I dug into it as much as I did, because I kind of figured out what was going on, but I didn't know how it was going on. Mm-hmm. And the more I dug into it, the more I figured out how it was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the big one. You're going to figure out real fast what is going on, but you have no clue how the fuck it happened, especially if you know anything about the actual lore. So again, I'm not going to get into specifics because it'd be huge spoilers for Parker, and he's going to enjoy it. So
yeah, play that game. Play it.
You're not my dad.
No, I'm your guild master. Now play the game.
Be quiet, boy.
Yes, guild master.
So
we've used no guild decrees. Does anybody want to throw anything out real quick?
Yes. I guild decree that Nintendo controllers suck.
Oh
no!
Wow!
Veto.
Veto.
No,
you have to use your guild decree to veto.
My guild decree.
Is that Parker's?
No.
My guild decree is that Nintendo is the most innovative video game company to ever exist, especially when it comes to their controllers.
That's two things.
That is technically two things, and one of them just cancels out Parker's thing.
Oh, well. I mean, like, okay, if I can expand on it a little bit, it doesn't have to be part of my guild decree. If you look at... No, seriously, Nintendo invented the D-pad. Like, look at every video game controller since. They all have a D-pad, and Nintendo invented it. Like, Nintendo invented the home controller joystick. Nintendo invented home motion controls. Nintendo, I mean, like, it's what they do. It's what they do.
Parker, I think you got sand in his vagina.
I couldn't hear you.
Oh yeah, I could make pearls.
I said, Parker, I think you got sand in his vagina.
Sorry.
Like I said, I can make pearls. I mean, like, you know, it's
Okay, so-
it's definitely there.
Oh, in your vagina. That's gross.
So are we tossing out guild decrees here? Is that your guild decree, Parker?
Mike,
I guess.
It doesn't have to be. No, my guild decree. You know what? My guild decree is. I'm making this a guild decree because I say it enough. But guild decree, pound for pound, Nintendo 64 is the best game system ever made.
ooh,
Guild decree.
I mean, I have to agree with it because it's a guild decree.
Wow.
I would make an argument for Super Nintendo, but
But you can't anymore.
Like this
because-
I can't.
And you're either going to waste your decree on those controllers or on mine. So
I wouldn't say wasted on all controllers. Like I said, the actual decree I made was that Nintendo is the most innovative video game company out there, and especially for their controllers.
You're not going to have to worry about money for a while when you sell that pearl.
No, I think honestly, thinking about it, I think that the fact that Nintendo is one of the most, if not the most innovative game company ever, might have been my guild decree, regardless.
Yeah. Oh, definitely
I mean,
they are.
like,
They definitely push the envelope.
That's what
Every
they're
time.
about. I mean, like, they don't care what anybody else is doing.
All
You've
right.
got like Sony and Microsoft like competing with each other, and Nintendo's over here like, fuck what y'all are doing. We're gonna do our shit.
all right, so you ready? With the accumulation of our guild decrees, we have Nintendo is the most innovative game system out there with the best system, having made the best system ever made with the Nintendo 64, pound for pound. But the Switch
Kinds of
controller. But the Switch controller.
They could use some work.
But that's the basic rundown of what our guild decrees have given the people.
And you guys can at me.
Oh
snap! Oh
shit.
snap! Parker's Twitter link in the description.
I don't have Twitter.
Parker's. I don't know.
I'll make one for him. I'll make one for him.
You're gonna make my Twitter?
Yep.
Please don't at the Casters Guild Twitter about your Joy-Con hate. I love the Joy-Cons.
What a misleading name, Joy-Con.
Oh, come on. The next episode is going to be me by myself talking about my Joy-Cons.
Why you should always spell D-pad with a capital D.
This last 15 minutes is probably my favorite podcast ever. Pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
Why do you guys get so many decrees?
Well, there was one that we didn't use any, didn't we?
There was one. Well, first of all, our introduction podcast, there were no guild decrees because it hadn't been invented yet.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But then there was one episode where you did not use yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember what episode it was, but there was an episode where you did not use yours.
Yeah, I don't just throw around my guild decree.
I think it may have been the Star Wars episode.
Yeah, I didn't use it there. Did I use one last time?
Yes, but I have it written down. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
What was last?
Marvel.
Oh, did I use
Marvel Cinematic Universe specifically?
Yeah, I don't remember what I used it for either. Yeah, I don't throw away my guild decrees. If I feel like something I want to make official happens, I'll use it.
Yeah.
So from the 70s to the now the not so distant future, we have covered quite a few video games, and I think there's a lot of love that we have to show, which us being just a small microcosm of the geek world can just tell anybody how much video games are beloved across the world. I know our culture would not be the same without them. I love them very dearly, even though I suck horribly at them. And I know that we, as the guild, are also very happy with the effect that games have had on our lives. And I think, if anything, this podcast has shown you guys that.
Yeah, we will definitely be returning to video games as a topic with a more narrowed topic, like, you know, something a little bit more specific, because we could fill hours upon hours if we don't, you know, cut it here or yeah.
Yep.
So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Make sure to listen to our old episodes and tune in again on Monday, as we release new podcast every Monday, usually with a new guild member for new opinions. Check out our socials and links in the description, and don't forget to watch us live on Twitch on Sundays. So thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Adios.
I'm gonna miss you so much.
Oh my god.
I want to be.
I shit you not.
I love you. I want to take you away from all this.
What if we like listen to a podcast together, JK? Unless.